Hello everyone, welcome to Madera Analytics channel. This video is designed towards beginners who are learning SQL. There are plenty of software that allows you to manage your SQL work, such as Postgres, Netezza, MySQL, Teradata, and a plethora of SQL management GUIs that will allow you to manage that type of work. Today, I will be discussing SQL Server Management Studio. This tutorial will be emphasizing only on the GUI. Stay tuned for more SQL tutorials. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get this tutorial off the ground. For right now, this is the SQL Server Management Studio GUI. As you can see, once you open SQL Server Management Studio, you'll see the GUI. Let's discuss a little bit more detail on the server type. So the server type, basically, the majority of your work you will be spending on a database engine. And there is analysis services, reporting services, integration services. For the purpose of this tutorial, we'll concentrate mainly in the database engine. Here's the server name. This will look different if you, let's say, working from your company. The server name will be different, of course. I'm using a local instance, so therefore I'm using my local machine. Authentication, right now I have it on Windows authentication, but let's say if your database administrator has security in place, you have to put your username and password. Once you do that, you can definitely go ahead and click connect. Once you connect to your server name will be on top here in the left hand side of your screen with a tree-like structure of different folders and files that you can go in. Primarily, I'll be discussing the database files. We'll discuss these files at a later tutorial. But for right now, let's just concentrate on the databases. So if we look at the database folder, if you can expand that, you see different objects under that. By the way, this is the Object Explorer. Here, we have different databases. The databases are defined by these little cubes type cylinders looking objects. Here's the system databases and here's the database snapshots. So let's say, for example, for snapshots, if you have any backup or you need to make some point in time, if you will, they will go in here. I have the sample Eventual Works 2014 database, so we can definitely look into that. For the purpose of this tutorial, we also have the Eventual Works DW, which stands for Data Warehousing 2014. But for right now, we'll look at the Eventual Works database. These objects, the Eventual Works database object contains database diagrams and tables, views, external sources, synonyms, and programmability, service brokers, storage, and security. Right now, we'll be concentrating in three different folders: the tables, the views, and the programmability. If we expand on the tables, you'll see your tables. Contains the table names, the objects of DBO. As you can see, the database objects are named based on departments. So right in this, DBOs are human resources. This specifically to Eventual Works. If you expand one of these tables, you'll see the name of the columns, which primary keys. You expand the keys, you see which key contains the primary key, which field contains the primary key. If there have any constraints, you'll see them in this folder. Any triggers, any indexes. Right now it looks like there's two indexes for this. They have a unique and a non-clustered, and a cluster for the primary key and the department name. I will discuss these indexes in further detail in later tutorials. But for right now, let's just concentrate on the basics. Let's go ahead and collapse this for a second and let's look at the views. So the views basically are those views that we can create based on the base tables. So views are those, let's kind of work as a SQL that will never change the table structure. So you'll see your reporting, you'll do your reporting based on views. If you want to have a view that will count for the number of employees and human resources, you can create a view. And the view will not is not going to change the table structure or the structure of the base table. Let's move it along to programmability. In programmability, I will concentrate in this folder, store procedures. So let's say if you do or create store procedures where let's say for SSRS as an example, you can use parameters, and they will, you can create a store procedure and they'll go into this folder. I will give more details in reference to this in a later tutorial. For right now, as a beginner level, this is the folders and files that in this GUI that you can concentrate on. The databases, for your database, within the database, you have your tables, you can look at your views, programmability, where you have the store procedures. There are all the types of folders here, like if you create user-defined functions, they go here. And on later, again, in a later, more detailed tutorial, I will explain what all these folders and files will do. Now, one of the main things that you can do with Management Studio is when you write your queries. So this is when you click on New Query, a text file will open. Here you can write your query. Let's say you want to create a new database. This is where you type in that information. One thing to know is in Management Studio, you start always with the master database. So if you want to change to database, you can either click the down arrow and you choose your database. So in this case, we're choosing AdventureWorks. Let's say, for example, you don't want to do that. You can definitely say you go and then execute would execute this. Now you have this changed to AdventureWorks. Well, folks, let's wrap up this part of this tutorial. Stay tuned for more. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more.